Hello, my friends. This is Sandra with Sandra Torno Art. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be doing a video um, today and making some bookmarks. Like I've mentioned before, I have a vendor booth in Hearst, and I do greeting cards, paintings, bookmarks, and I need to make some more to restock. Um, so that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to do an ocean scene and cut them up into 2x6 bookmarks and put holes in them with tassels. And I'll show you the end product at the end. Real easy to do. As some of you may notice, I've redone the top of my desk with some slat wood covering, and it sure brightened things up in here, and I'm really enjoying it. We're using watercolor today. The paper is 140 pound, and I'm going to tell you something. For practicing bookmarks, greeting cards, this paper cannot be beat. I was shocked. I actually bought it for some things I made for a craft fair, and I was very impressed. It's Amazon Basics watercolor book. There's 30 sheets, 9 by 12, 140 pound, and it is so thick and just perfect for something like this. First thing I want to do is I want to wet my paper all over. I've got a Princeton mop brush here. And you don't want it sopping wet, but you want it glistening. I've got my paper taped down with masking tape on my acrylic board. I just like it because I can tilt it if I need to and pick it up. I could actually tape it down to the desk. So you want to get any puddles that you may have. Very simple. So it's all glistening. I'm just going to check it here. Make sure there's no dry spots. So I have my big jar of water, as always. I've got my butcher block palette. I've got my colors in here we're going to be using. I'm actually, and I've got my little dish here with some burnt umber. And after I finish this painting, I'm actually going to make some other bookmarks with my leftover paint. And if I have time today, I'll tape that for, or video that for you as well. I've got a toothbrush to splatter some white, Dr. P.H. Martin's bleed proof white. I've got some masking fluid in a, I pour my masking fluid in these little plastic jars, and they've got come with little needles, tip needles on them, and it puts out little dots when I need it. If I need bigger amounts, I use it right out of the bottle. We're going to be doing some of that. So first we're going to do some masking, and I want it right here at the bottom. Little pebbles and random marks. Hope you all are having a good Sunday today. My husband's thrilled. We've been married 38 years. I'm just spreading this out and thinning it out a little bit. And he loves NASCAR. So I know Sunday I can have the whole day because he's going to be in front of the television. And today there's an Indy 500 race along with the NASCAR race. So he's in hog heaven. Just kind of thinning this out. Okay, and this has got to dry for about 5 or 10 minutes. You don't want to use a hair dryer on masking fluid. So I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and I've re-wet my paper. The masking fluid was dry. I also got me a second little water jug here. We're going to need some clean water a little bit later on, so I wanted to make sure. I've already mixed up my paint. I've got 3 different blues here that we're going to use, and then I've got my yellow ochre and a little bit of my burnt umber, and I've already mixed everything up. So I want to start at the top with the Prussian blue, and I want it real dark at the top, and you want it to get lighter as we go to the bottom. And then I'm going to come in with a little bit of this turquoise. And put a little bit more dark up in here. Now, Texas beaches would not be this color. You can adjust the colors to, now I've gone to my lighter blue, where you live. I would guess this is probably more of a Florida beach or a Hawaiian beach. And I do have it taped on the edges, just make sure I got everything covered. This is going to make probably about 6 bookmarks, 2 by 6. Now I'm going to go to my yellow ochre, start at the bottom. And you should use a big brush with this. This is my Princeton Neptune size 14, because you want to cover a lot of area in a short amount of time. Now yellow ochre or yellow and blue will make green. So you want to be careful to not linger there very long. I'm going to add a little bit of burnt umber to that for some variation. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is take my number 6, yes, some clean water, and I'm going to drop it in the top line of the and it's going to make the paint separate. Push it away, and it's going to give us some waves. And I've got a few coming here. You could do a few. I'm just putting a little bit of the cerulean blue in with this white to give it a little bit of color, so it just doesn't look like blossoms. So I've used a little bit of all three of my blues in here. Okay. Now, what we can do is we can take our clean water. Actually, I'm going to change brushes. Take some clean water. And we're going to draw some lines in here. Wipe it off on a paper towel. Make some waves in the back. I didn't wipe that off. I'll have to fix that. So as you can tell here, what it does, it also pushes the yellow ochre from the blue, so it looks like the bank of the beach sand. I'm going to put some more blue up here. That blue, or that water, totally went out of control. I'm going to try to get some more dark up here. Tone some of this down. Okay, we're going to let that dry naturally. I'm not going to use a hair dryer, and then we'll be back and go to the next step. Okay, so I'm back. I did a couple of things. When this started drying naturally, I had some hard edges here. So I took a damp, clean brush and softened the edges there. And I ended up putting in some burnt umber through here. It just looked too pale on top of the yellow ochre. And then I ended up drying it with a hair dryer and rubbing off the masking fluid. So that's the only thing I did off camera, and now we're back. So I need to clean up some of these that are just too thick. I like this one. This could be a great crashing wave in the front. Even these are subtle. I like that. It's right in here. I want to correct some things. Now remember, these are going to be cut into 6 pieces. So I want a little bit of everything in each one. So that's why I'm making it so big. Now this here, we got to make some diagonal mark shadows underneath, to make them look like sticks and rocks and shells and different things. So we got to do that, and then we'll be done. So I'm going to take my number 3 mop brush and get some darker color here. And I just want to take away some of these waves. Now, the reason being, waves in the back are smaller than they are in the front. I may even try to take most of them out. I think we'll even do that. And then blend all this together. I'm going to go ahead and try to blend that. They may show underneath, but I think it'll be fine. We just don't want any hard edges. And then I'm going to get the real dark. Actually, I'm going to get my 14. Painting bigger is always better. So we're just gradually getting this to come down. And then what I want to do I'm going to actually put a line of water right here, but I got a hard edge. Okay, we are going to do that one again. I like it here. I like it there. I'm going to let that dry a little bit, then I'm going to drop some water in there to get just a little smaller wave around there, and then it'll stay dark in the top. I'm going to do one more strip of dark right at the very top. There. I should have waited for the really wet paper to dry just a little bit, and I would not have gotten such a blossom of waves. So I still have the sheen on the paper, so I'm going to let it dry a little bit. So what we can do is come in with some yellow ochre and burnt umber. Put some shadows under some of these. And some of them I'm taking away. I got way too many. So you want them to be flat. Not rounded. They can't sit on the beach round. I may have waited a little bit too long. And again, if I was painting a painting instead of bookmarks, I would not make this the same all the way across. Okay, there it goes. And that's what I wanted. I just wanted a very gentle wave. I didn't want a huge one. Now I'm going to take some of my turquoise real light, and I'm going to come in here and just put a few shadows. Too dark. Waves are normally darker on the bottom. Okay, I got some hard edges here I need to soften up. Okay. And then I want to do some splatter in the bottom. And I think I'm going to take my piece of scrap paper and cover this up. So I just have an old toothbrush that I use for splatter. Get some. You can also use a paintbrush, and then just run it back, your finger back, and it puts texture in the sand. And cover it up. You still get it in the water. Okay. I still have some and I'm going to say this. I will retract what I said. This Amazon paper is good, but I just found out it is not good when you are using so much water, like in an ocean scene. I have not done ocean scenes for bookmarks. What I did in the past, I did florals and so I think that's the reason. And I got something on there. That is the reason I have so many hard edges. Okay, one last thing, and then we're going to do the P.H. Martin's. Wanted some darker type waves back here, but not white caps. You would just see and again, I would not put these straight across. If I was doing a painting, but because I'm going to cut them, so I'm just softening the bottom edge. Just using a little bit of all three of the blues that I've got out. So when I'm doing my paintings, I use arches. I actually use 300-pound more than anything. It's expensive, but I do sell my paintings, and I think for me it's worth it. They're 140-pound, works just fine. I've got some Fabriano that I use on things that don't take a lot of water. I use etchers sometime. There's a lot of good paper, but I should have known better than to use this for as much water as I was using. So as you can tell, what I'm doing is I'm making a darker blue, putting it on, and then I'm taking clean water and just running it along the edge to soften everything down. So I'm going to let that dry, and then we'll do our white to enhance our waves, and we'll be done. Okay, we're back now, and everything is dry, and I have taken my Dr. P.H. Martin's bleed proof white, and I put some in the lid and added quite a bit of water. Not quite a bit, but I wanted it a little bit thinner. And I've got my number 3 mop brush, and we're going to enhance some of these waves. So I'm just going to dab on the edge of the beach. That was a little delayed, wasn't it? You know, sometimes you think you know the word, but you don't know the word. And your mind goes, what is that word? It can't be that hard. So I'm going to enhance some of these waves. Not all of them, but a few, especially here in the front. Well, I hope you enjoyed this and you're trying it. I will list the supplies that I used. Of course, you probably have everything you need. With something like this, you just need different colors of blues, a pretty big brush, um, to cover the areas, some white gouache or white acrylic or um, this here. And I use all three of them. Some brown. And then I'm going to take this and just tip it on the edge of some of these across here, irregular. And if you were going to do this as a painting instead of as as bookmarks, you just wouldn't want to do waves all the way across. You would make them more sporadic. And what I'm doing here is putting some very tiny waves on top of the dark, because you always have a shadow underneath the waves. And actually it saved me a little bit because it's covering up some of my water lines, hard edges, because of this paper. Okay, last thing we got to do is do some shadows in here. Smooth this out. So my birthday was May 12th, and I have been wanting an electric bike. And we travel, and we were going to get two of them, and my husband got real sick last year, which I'll explain that another day. but he's doing so much better, and I thought maybe we could get one. And he just doesn't feel stable enough that he feels like he can do it. So he bought me one for my birthday. And that was May 12th. Well, I was all excited. We went to Branson. I knew I wouldn't have it then. And we're going on another trip here in a couple of weeks. And I thought, well, I'll have it for that. Well, no. Bought it from Electric Bikes, which is an amazing company. And they're making some improvements on their bikes, which is a plus. Nothing that was wrong with them before, but they're always looking at different things to do. And I got an email that I won't get it till the end of July. So it's like, okay, I got the helmet, I got the lock, I got the phone holder. I don't have no bike, but I'm really looking forward to it. Even here at the house when we don't travel, I can use it. And so I'm excited. Several years ago, we bought us a regular bikes, and we found out we were too old for that. And so what I'm doing here, I'm taking a real weak blue over this white to put some shadows in. But anyway, we sold those bikes, and we didn't do anything for a long time. But I don't know, it's fun. And the RVers, that's what they do. It's just kind of the new thing to do. If you get tired of pedaling, you can just use the throttle and keep on going. So age-wise, maybe that'll explain some. I don't know how old my few followers are. I just started this channel. I just turned 65, and my husband is 80. We've been married for 38 years, and when we got married, I was 26 and he was 42. And you think, oh, that ain't a big deal until you get older and you're like, all the health problems, which I have my own health problems. I have stage 3 COPD. I'm not on oxygen, and I exercise and watch my weight to keep everything. I have my inhalers and my medication. Well, I'm telling you way too much today. But anyway, I'm excited to get my bike. I'm excited to get some exercise on beautiful, whoa, that's way too dark. Beautiful days. So what you can tell I'm doing here, hopefully, is I've got some white underneath. I've got blue for shadows on top. And when I put the blue underneath, I still get some really pretty wave colors. I always have to lean back to make sure it's like I think it is. Because waves have shadows underneath them. They have shadows from the water. And this doesn't have to be perfect, I know, but I take pride in what I do. So I do like it to be nice, even if it is just going to be a bookmark. And if you gave them for gifts, you would feel the same way. Just kind of cleaning this up just a little bit. Okay, we're going to let that dry and see where we stand. And I think we are about done. Okay, it's dry now with a hair dryer. There's a couple of things I want to do. I want to get some really dark underneath. Too thick. Didn't like that at all. So I've just got a liner brush here. I'm just putting some shadows under some of these. Very little paint. It's okay to use your finger. Sometimes it's a good blending tool, especially on the days I tend to be heavy-handed on my paint. And the only other thing I want to do is put a few high waves here right in that row there. And that's it. I'm not going to add water to it this time. It's just on my brush. Like I said, this or gouache. So I'm going to hold it at the end so I don't have very much control. I don't like that at all. Should have left it like it was. Now let me see if I can fix it. Should have just left it. Smooth this out. This isn't There's just a couple of real big waves there. Okay, I know I keep saying one last thing, but I keep seeing something. I need some more blue. Well, you can say you learned how to make a mistake and how you can fix it. There. I think I'm going to leave it alone. Different paper next time. You need 100, which this is cotton paper. But I have really abused it. And in my opinion, Arches is the only paper you can really abuse. Okay, gonna go dry it one more time, and then I'll take the tape off and we'll cut them up, and I'll show you what they look like in Bookmarks. You know, as a painter always says, there's always one more thing to do. I always say if I sign my name, I'm definitely done. As I dried this, I looked at it, and the edge here looked flat, and I needed to put the darker color along the edge to make that pop. I did this part. I just got to finish this part. I didn't film the whole thing doing this, so I thought I'd just turn it on to show you what I'm doing. Very little water. So this is a number 6. If you need to go smaller, you can. Just go around the edge very lightly. Or you want it dark, you just don't want it wet. So this is portraying the wet sand where the waves hit the beach. And I'm going to rinse my brush and I'm going to smooth that out. And again, if this was a full painting, I would not have to do a solid line. You could break it up. But since there are multiple things, pieces from this puzzle, then I need to do it all the way across. So it's like softening an edge. There you go. Okay, I'm going to dry it one more time, then we're going to cut them up. Okay, we're just going to remove the tape. Again, this is on my acrylic board. Biggest piece of advice: pull to the outside. And I am going to cut the white part off on these, but I needed to tape it down because of all the water. I think it turned out really cute. I'm going to get my cutter. And I'm going to trim the edge. So we're going to lose a little bit of the top because this is a 9 by 12 and we're cutting 2 by 6s. Okay, see, that turned out really pretty. So let me see how long this is now. It is a little over 8 inches. So I want it to be 6 inches, and I'd rather take from the top than the bottom. Okay, I couldn't figure this out, why I couldn't find the 2-inch mark. I had to flip my thing around. I was like, this is being way too difficult. So I put it on 2 inches, and we will cut that one. There's our first one. Isn't that cute? So should you varnish them? Yes, you should. Only because watercolor, if it gets moisture or wet, it will run. I don't sell them for like $3 a piece, but still, I don't want to get ink on somebody's book or such. So typically, I would use varnish, but I have found a new thing that I just love, and it's cold wax. And you just put one coat on them, and it seals just like a varnish. And you don't have to mess with spraying UV protectant or anything. So it came off a little short because it's a little over an inch. So what I do with these is I sell them as kids bookmarks. They're smaller books, they're small for the kids, and they work great. So the only thing I have left to do, and I'm not going to do it on camera, there's a video of how to apply cold wax to watercolors to varnish it that you're welcome to look up and watch. This is what we lost, but that's okay. So here I have 5 2x6 bookmarks and one about 1¼ by 6 bookmark that could be a child's bookmark. So there you go. So I am going to varnish them off camera, punch holes in them, put the brads in them, and then put the tassels, and I'll come show you the end result. Thank you so much. I'll be right back. So here are the finished bookmarks that I have punched to make the design at the top with the hole and put the tassels on and inserted the eyelets. What I use to punch the holes is this little device. I use it for my gift tags and for my bookmarks. It puts the design and punches the hole. Makes it real easy. And then I use 3/16 eyelets, and I use the crocodile puncher to insert them. Makes it real easy. You just put the block and what you're going to use, and the holes punched, the eyelets there to make it sturdy, and then I insert the tassels just so that gives it a little character. I also varnished them with the Gamblin Cold Wax Varnish. I actually use my finger to varnish these. I have used a rag on a bigger piece, but with the smaller pieces, you can just feel if it's smooth and going on, or if there's any resistance when you're rubbing it in. It just makes it easier for me. So when you put it on, it takes about 4 hours to dry, and then you can buff it off with I use a microfiber towel and buff it off in circles, and it gives it a satin finish. Or you can leave it for 24 hours for it to dry, and it will be a matte finish. I like the satin finish, and of course it's a varnish, so it's protected from water. You know, it makes it waterproof, and it won't bleed into any book that it's being used on. What I do is after I varnish these, I leave them till overnight so that they're completely dry, and then I put them in cellophane sleeves to sell them or give them as gifts, so they're protected there as well. This one here is the larger version. It's the same length, it's just a little bit wider. You can see the varnish on here. It's kind of a satin color, makes it a little bit shiny. It just really brings out the luster in the bookmarks. I'm really happy with how they turned out. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, I hope you will subscribe. My next video is a kind of botanical I'm really excited about. I hope you'll join me. We'll be learning some new things. It's actually going to be a challenge for me. Some parts of it I've never done before, so we'll learn together. We had gone to Branson, and my sister-in-law had seen a leaf on the ground that had raindrops on it, and I took a picture, and she said, "Sandra, you need to paint that." So that's what we're going to paint next. And I hope you'll turn on notifications so you don't miss that. Hope you enjoyed the video on the bookmarks. And if you did, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. YouTube likes to know if my content is good. I know this was a longer video, but we learned from some mistakes. We learned about some paper. Maybe it'll keep you from making the same mistakes I did, and you can get them done quicker and just as good. They ended up turning out great. I'm really happy, but there's just some things we shouldn't have had to go through. But thank you so much for joining me. I do appreciate you.